Carlos Alcaraz will never win a title again. Just kidding. I actually have no idea. But his box is different in 2026. We're going to get into it right now on the All Surface Show number 8. I am David Berger, welcoming in my man in Melbourne, Steve, Mr. Ace Previews himself. Steve, welcome in.
Thank you very much. It is stinking hot down here in Melbourne. It is a little bit uncomfortable, but that means that the Australian Open isn't too far away generally when this weather starts to turn. So we are nearly there, David. We are nearly there.
I mean, this is music to my ears, actually, because that means that we're nearly there, as you say. I was like, this is great news. It's a beautiful 70 degrees here in Los Angeles, so I can't complain. But let's get into it. Carlos Alcaraz, out of nowhere, Steve, literally out of nowhere, I feel, posted this. It's very difficult for me to write this post. After more than 7 years together, Wonky and I have decided to end our time together as coach and player. This is a guy who's been in his box, I believe, since he was 15 years old. They've won 6 slams together, Steve. He is the current number 1 ranked player in the ATP. He has 24 titles that he won with this guy. I think this is obviously the biggest story of the offseason, and we're kind of near the end of the offseason. So the timing of it, especially a lot of stuff that's come down with it, in the last couple days, apparently things fell apart. Rumors are swirling about why this relationship, I don't want to say soured, but look, they're in business together, and allegedly it's a contractual falling out. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have my thoughts on this, but I'll toss it to you for your initial reaction on this, Steve.
I mean, maybe it's the cynic in me, but my initial reaction looking at this post is that maybe Carlos didn't write it exactly. It's very difficult for me to write this post, but surely there's someone in his team that's contracted to help with this kind of stuff. But look, I think it just shows the reality of the business. That's the business side of tennis. It probably brings up that conversation a little bit more when you look at, there are very, very few relationships that are coach and player that last an exceptionally long amount of time that aren't family or blood related. That there's, you think about Carlos and you look at, what's said here and how difficult it is to, end a relationship with a coach here. You think about, the players that have their, parents involved and the people you can't just all of a sudden, up and end and, you're still going to see them at Christmas in a week. There's complexity, I think, off the court. But I think this is a really interesting spot. Obviously, Carlos had his reasons for doing so in terms of, his planning for 2026. But it's going to be interesting to see, particularly how he starts the year. January hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Carlos.
I find it curious for a couple of reasons. One is coach is not that old. I mean, he's literally only a few years older than me. So, I mean, it's not like he's aging out. So, it's obviously a different vision for the future. By all reports, it seems like Carlito's father is the guy who kind of pushed things. I mean, I'm not on the inside. I have no inside sources, but this is what people are saying. There's a report that Ferrero received a new contract on Saturday morning with the condition that it had to be accepted within 48 hours. It had several clauses, right? And the financial section apparently was a reduced salary. And apparently that was not a major obstacle, but there are other aspects directly related to tennis, which proved to be sticking points. Now, I mean, I don't know what to do with that report, to be honest, because I feel like that can be misconstrued in so many ways. I feel like money rules everything. I feel like the money literally has to be. There's an answer to all your questions, Steve, and that answer is money. So I do believe that money is probably the biggest reason why this didn't happen. I know that also people are saying that he wanted time off to be with his family, didn't want to maybe do all the events. But Carlitos plays a pretty specific schedule as well. He doesn't go to like every event. He played a lot of matches in 2025. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like he's out here grinding Hong Kong. So, it's a very peculiar situation.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of different ways I think that you can look at it. One is obviously it's disappointing because there is change, and with change can come either positive or negative results and outcomes. I think looking at it maybe from the other side, if Juan Carlos was given this quick turnaround and time frame to accept, like it's all happened very quickly. I think that's probably the bit that is a bit of a surprise, that these are the things that we probably don't get that level of detail in a lot of instances. We just normally see the post on social media saying it's always the same. It's always quite glowing of the coach and how amazing they've been and the relationship that they've developed, but obviously not amazing enough to continue. It's obviously a tough spot, and tough timing, obviously, with the quick turnaround for between seasons. But the other side of it is, if you look at Carlos, there's probably something to be said that everything that he could learn from Juan Carlos, he has probably learned over the course of their relationship to now. Is there going to be anything new? I feel like there was a big shift in 2025, and they went away and looked at ways to, in particular, try and beat Yannick Sinner in particular conditions. I think that was relatively successful in what we saw at the US Open. Like, I think that was kind of job done. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting spot. I don't think it's going to cause Carlos to go off the rails, but also maybe there's someone else they've got in mind that's going to pop up if there was such a quick, turnaround and desire with all these, complexities in the contract.
No way they have someone else in mind. If you ask my opinion, but maybe they do. Maybe they do.
Maybe Rafael Nadal could do a couple of weeks.
Well, here, I like this tweet from Vonch V2K. Reminder that Samuel Lopez is a very good, experienced coach who doesn't often get the limelight or credit. Alcaraz won 5 of his 8 titles this year with Samuel, not JCF, in his box, and he's largely been responsible for his technical improvements. For the technical improvements Carlos made on his serve in 2025, which I mean, that was his biggest leap, obviously, in 2025, was shoring up that service game. And so maybe your point is correct. They haven't, I guess, like, it's not like they're bringing in someone outside to bring him in. Maybe they just want to promote from within type of situation. And it's hard when it's such an individual sport. It is an individual sport to kind of think of it in that team aspect, where, you're used to these team sports promoting, the DC becomes the head coach type of situation. But here we are. So we'll see if Samuel Lopez becomes more of a prominent figure in the box. That seems to be in the ether. I think about it a couple ways, Steve. Number one, I'll offer a couple counterpoints. Superstar athletes, they have different chapters of their careers, okay? Michael Jordan, he had many chapters. Tom Brady, many chapters. LeBron James, many chapters. And of course, the big three in Rafa, Federer, and Novak Djokovic, to bring it to this sport. They all had different chapters in their careers, box changes, things happen. Well, we'll see. I mean, we mentioned our last show about the lore of tennis needing that match at the French Open to kind of cement these two as the new leaders of the sport. And if that's the case, I mean, this is just more lore to the story. That said, also, Steve, reconciliation. If things go haywire, it's not like he can't bring him back this year. Even I mean that I think is also getting a little bit lost. It's like, yes, they parted ways, but like, oh, things are off the rails. Let's just bring JCF back. I mean, they are fully capable of doing that.
So I'll add a question to that for you, a question without notice. So a lot of, almost all of the conversation's been the Carlos Alcaraz side. If you were another player on tour,
I like where you're going.
Would you be making a phone call to Juan Carlos Ferrero? I feel like there's a lot of intellectual property and insight and understanding that sits on the coach's side that would be pretty valuable to a Fonseca or a Alexander Zverev, someone trying to find that edge to kind of get closer and closer.
It's a great point. I mean, I'm wearing a Rams hat right now. Think about the Tennessee Titans releasing Mike Vrabel, and now he has the Patriots back in the mix. They lost last week, but they're on top of their division. Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe one of those guys is hello. Come and be in my box.
You could take it a step further. Yannick Sinner?
No, he has a pretty, the ingredients are there for his recipe that he's been cooking with. So I think he's set. But to your point, I mean, these guys that are trying to break through, why not? I mean, Ben Shelton obviously has his dad, so he's not doing that. But maybe a Jack Draper has a rotating box.
Yeah. And obviously there are things and reasons why, Juan Carlos didn't want to be around year round, but I feel like from a, consulting perspective, I feel like there's probably a fair amount of value that he's going to be able to provide to, a lot of those players into insight, being a part of, the Alcaraz camp for so long. I think that's where my brain kind of started to head, is that I think one of the more interesting questions here is, where does Juan Carlos go next? Because as you said, he's not aging out. Oh, he's got plenty of time left.
Oh, yeah. And in 2018, reports have it that he turned down Simona Halep, Dominic Thiem, and Del Potro to coach then 15-year-old Alcaraz. So he already had options at the time he signed on to the team. So, yeah, man. Yeah. It's such a weird situation. I guess the reason it would be the biggest story no matter what in the offseason, because obviously Alcaraz is the biggest player outside of Yannick Sinner in the sport. So anything he does is going to probably make waves. But I think it's the timing that really explodes it, because we are so close. And I mean, we're up against the holidays. We're recording like a what, it's the 18th right now. We're a week away from Christmas. So
yeah,
not a lot of
and to be honest, he's they're in the process of starting to ramp up their training. So it's not I think there maybe wouldn't have been as much shock if this happened in the week after the tour finals, like when everything's
I agree.
Down. But that being said, or I don't know whether it's just because we are now in that kind of week before or build up where players are starting to ramp up for 2026, we're seeing a few of these posts. Riley Opelka, I think, and Dennis Kudla parted ways earlier in the week. Kudla got Opelka, or helped him get back from in the 300s to top 50-ish. So that was a 1 year and done. So it's not uncommon. I think it's just obviously the gravity of this being Carlos, who he is, that relationship and how established it's been. But it's not super uncommon for these relationships to end in that kind of 5 to 10 year range.
Yeah, obviously our brains are broken by tennis and we're obsessed, but the casuals that kind of fly in and out. I even got a text from one of them about this. So it's making waves in the sports world. I mean, it's a big story. It was a rightful lead off to talk about here. I think, listen, Alcaraz is a generational athlete. Nothing is going to change that, no matter who's in his box. And so I think your curiosity drifts to who's massaging the margins, and we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, the guy's an effing incredible athlete, and I'm excited for his Australia. Honestly, it's the one slam he hasn't won, and not only has he not won, he's only been in the quarterfinals, and so and I don't feel like he's really had a good run at it. Really, if you think about it. I mean,
yeah,
I think he has. It's. I mean, I'm giving him a lot of rope there.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, his probably two best chances have been. I think he got Zverev on a very good Zverev fight, when Carlos was a little bit younger, and Novak. With is Novak injured? I think Carlos got drawn into that whole is he injured, isn't he injured situation, and it just completely threw him off his game, which is not uncommon. But I think, yeah, I'm really interested to see how he goes this year with another year under his belt, another couple of Grand Slams under his belt. It should shape for a really, really interesting fortnight at the end of January.
I'm not counting him out. That's for sure. All right. Well, you mentioned coaching changes. This was an interesting one you just posted to me right before we hit record. It just kind of it's not necessarily breaking news. I mean, we're not breaking news in the show, but this happened right before I pressed the button to record, and that's Dimitrov parting with his coach, which is, I shouldn't say shocking, but I think 8 years. I mean, Dimitrov is a curious case in which he resurfaced late in his career. I mean, I feel like his best tennis maybe was after the age of 30. You can argue against that. That's fine. But yeah, and he was good before being injured this year. I mean, this was a guy who had a great Miami. He was up on center in Wimbledon. So I'm one of the tops in the game still. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think you make a case that when and this is probably the precursor you have to put with anything when you talk about Grigor, when he's fit and when he's at 100%, he's in the top bracket of players. You look at his last year on tour. So we've just got the numbers up on Tennis Abstract. So he's gone 18 and 11 over the last year, but he's had 6 of those 11 losses have been retirements. So the body just wasn't holding up. But in that time, he's still put together. So he had to retire in the semifinals of Brisbane against Lehechka. He then retired at the Australian Open. He then retired in Dubai. And then things started to click a little bit. Made the semis in Miami, made the quarters in Monte Carlo. And I think probably the key thing that might easily be forgotten is he was 2 sets to love up on Jannik Sinner at Wimbledon.
Oh, I mean, we talked about it in the last show. It's a sliding doors moment for careers this season. The story of tennis. And I mean, that's incredible. That doesn't get talked about enough, I feel.
Yeah, and this comes off. You say those numbers for 2025 and go, okay, maybe that's not fantastic. But he went 46-18 last year. Like it's a pretty sustained level that he was putting together. and he was taking good players to beat him. He was finding that level of consistency that sometimes has plagued him a little bit over the time. But I think when you look at, if you stack up the best tennis of all the top players over the last 18 months, I think he's, comfortably in the conversation of, in that tier below
Oh,
Sinner and
absolutely.
Alcaraz.
I think that was fully on display in Miami. Like, I think Miami, like, when you're watching Dimitrov in Miami back in March, you're thinking this guy is one of the best in the game still.
Yeah. And it's just been that inability to get his body right that has been an issue. Then obviously he only played the one match after Wimbledon. So he came back in Paris, played against Apechi Pericard and beat him, and then withdrew against Medvedev. But I'm pretty sure he played doubles as well that week. So he at least got that kind of a couple of reps in before the end of the season. But I think he's a really interesting test case in terms of the start of 2026. Obviously, I feel like if you were a full-time coach coaching him, it would be tough, basically sitting around from June till October, not doing a hell of a lot while he's rehabbing. And when you look through the last 12 months, a lot of the time he spent over the year is rehabbing. So it's interesting to see how he kind of goes between now and the end of his career, because I still think his best tennis, well, I mean, it's incredible to watch. It's just about whether he's going to get the results.
Yeah, I think that one, the Dimitrov win over Pechi Pericard was great from a betting perspective, but he looked great. I mean, I feel like the last time we really saw him play a singles match, he looked great. So we should
not a great sign for Apechi Pericard that Dimitrov's come off a couple of months off the busted arm and serves 43% of his first serves in, and still doesn't break him at any point in time.
Well, we know the issues with Pericard's game. All right, Steve. Well, let's move from the coaching segment to talking about the weather. All right, because we have new rules for 2026, the cooling rules. The ATP board has approved the introduction of a new heat rule that will come into effect this year. And this is the big thing, okay? Because I am in love with this term, the wet bulb globe temperature. I mean, what a name. Incredible name. I feel like it's more fun to say than the acronym, which is WBGT. You just got to say it, wet bulb globe temperature. Incredible. The key provisions, Steve, when it reaches 30.1 degrees Celsius, which is, I'm a Fahrenheit guy. During the first two sets of best of three singles matches, a player can enact a 10-minute cooling break after the second set if they so choose to. And this is the big thing, is they can hydrate, change clothing, shower. It's a fair amount of change. And then also, play will be suspended when it hits a wet bulb globe temperature of 32.2 degrees Celsius. Now, this to me, that to me is the biggest thing, because it's going to hit that a lot. I mean, and so, and it's not like a rain situation where rain's going to, dissipate within 20 minutes. It's going to stay hot for a while. So I love this. I think it's a great thing for player safety. I think it's a great thing for fan safety. I mean, this is the only sport in which fans literally are dropping dead on the sidelines. But I will be interested to see how it impacts play with these prolonged breaks, because if it hits that temperature, it's not coming down for a while.
Yeah, and we're probably going to get a good tester of it pretty early on here in January. And I think what we need to do here is really say that here at the All Surface Media team, in January, we will be on Wet Glow Bulb Watch. I think we need to say that. I will make sure it will be part of my duty in January to make sure that we have an eye on the bulb.
The bulb. Listen, so much bulb watch coming in 2026.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. So we'll make sure that we get regular updates on that. To be fair, it's been a while since I've really heard the term. I actually remember it. This is now I'm showing my age. This is going back quite a while to when I was actually a ball kid at the Australian Open, and I think there was a period there where, because they were using the wet glow bulb temperature, but I think it might have been a little bit higher. And then we were sitting off court, just twiddling our thumbs from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. And then all of a sudden, everyone just went back on court once the sun went down, because obviously the temperature had come back down. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, for tournaments that maybe don't have, you think the Australian Open, they're probably going to be okay because they've at least kind of got the indoor courts, indoor stadium kind of courts. There's still going to be some kind of form of tennis going on. But the thing with what I will say with the Australian Open is where this is going to test them is if there is a significant period of suspension during the day, and the thing you do as spectators, because they can get 100,000 into the grounds, they're all heading to the bars. They're all heading to, you're all heading out to get food and drink, and those places are largely already filled with people who aren't really there to see the tennis.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting test case, I think, of the first time it happens, where everyone's going to kind of flock to and head to, because I think they're always relying on having people in the stands at these, on a lot of these courts. But once you take that away, there's only so many people that can head to Grand Slam Oval, and there's only so many people that can, head to the little water park with the kids and all those sort of things. So it's going to be really interesting. And just one more thing on that. I got another message yesterday from someone who, so I have a lot of, like, friends and family who are like, they go to the tennis, but I wouldn't say they're completely across, like, they're not following it week to week, but they know that, the Australian Open's on, they want to go a couple of times in the first week. They'll go in on a ground pass, spend the day in there and everything. I got another message again last night from someone who's been organizing and has bought a whole bunch of tickets, like friends and stuff, to go on like a happy hour special for the Australian Open tickets.
Oh, really? Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Okay. Yeah. So they sent the text message. I was reading. It's like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Like, that's good. They're going to go in, have a couple of drinks, all of that. So they paid, I think it's $20 for after 5 p.m. Ground pass. And then I looked at the date, and it was Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? January 13. So that's qualifying.
Well, I mean,
so
players we're interested in.
So this is the thing. So this year, like, they've gone from publicizing it as a 2-week event to publicizing it as a 3-week event. And what used to be free a couple of years ago, they've now got happy hour special tickets for $20.
Oh, wow.
So people are seeing it as opening week, but it hasn't actually really been clearly defined or described anywhere. If you type in the Australian Open now into Google, it comes up as January.
Yeah, they're thinking they're walking out to, like, maybe they'll see the new box for Alcaraz, and it's gonna be Watanuki versus
it'll be FAA versus someone on the court where they don't have tickets for, and they'll have to watch it outside. But my point is, like, I love that they're promoting the qualifying week and being able to trying to get people there for qualifying. But for so long, qualifying's been free. Like, just cut the losses on the ticket entry and make it back in the, heavily priced food and drink. But it's just gone from not being advertised at all, really, to now it's referred to as opening week, but nowhere does it mention qualifying. But the wording and tweaking of it is this. I reckon this is the 6th time someone I know has contacted me about tickets and how cheap they are in the first week. As people who in the past have gone in the first week, not realizing now that it's, you know, an after 5 o'clock ticket for qualifying on the second day of qualifying when most of the tennis will have been played by then anyway. Looking at the Australian Open website, so they've got the Australian Open is set to serve up even more entertainment in 2026 with the debut of AO Live opening week, a brand new series of exclusive live music events that will kick off the Grand Slam with a bang.
Is Keith Urban playing? It's the only Australian.
I think Keith might be busy. But for my friends who have bought tickets for everyone on Tuesday, the 13th of January, they will be seeing Hot Chip live.
Oh, wow. Really? That's pretty good. That's a good get.
So they're performing.
That's good.
The reason I say this is I've got this whole article on the Australian Open website that talks about all of this and the costs. You know, it's like with tickets priced the same week as a week 1 ground pass, fans can experience a world-class music lineup and all the energy of the AO precinct in one unforgettable night. The issue is all of this. There's actually no mention of qualifying being.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I think it's.
We've got Eldrook on Wednesday.
I am shocked at Hot Chip.
So I think that's the thing. You're taking it back.
Well, no, because
if you want to come down,
it's like they're gonna get like the local guy from the pub playing. So at least, like, to your point though, obviously they're. It does seem like a bill of goods, but at least like there's actual like they put some like the Hot Chip's not playing for free. There's some money behind it at least, because like you go to Indian Wells, they claim there's live music, and it's like, you know, some people that play it like, you know, the local Italian restaurant down the street.
I'm just interested to see what happens in that week of the 12th, 13th, 14th of Jan when these people who have bought these opening week tickets start to realize that they're going to a music concert when they think they're going to. The people who I've spoken to, I wouldn't say fall into the Hot Chip.
No, well, fair enough on that one. But
and when you work through this, there's no mention of actual tennis happening that week during qualifying.
Well, don't they have a couple hit and giggles though? Isn't
Yeah. So they're ticketed on Rod Laver Arena. So this is outside at the music festival.
So that's even separate from this?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh man. Well, they're seeing the value in the product, I guess. I mean, it's like we've talked about on a couple of podcasts. The Indian Wells is just that's tough now. Well, the opening weekend, obviously, like no one is there on opening day.
Yeah.
But even the weekend before, we were looking around for because they do the family day the week before, kind of like what you're talking about in terms of the first week. But they don't advertise it like it's the first week. But even the family day, we're looking for lodging and things like that, and it's tough. I was thinking about going to the San Diego Open, which is now going to be after and before after AO before Indian Wells, and they revamped it so it's going to be both men and women at the same time. So I actually think that's pretty cool. I've been there before. I went and watched the 2022 edition in the fall, which was great. It was fun, a lot of fun actually.
If you want to go and see Hot Chip, it's going to be $69.
Oh wow, really? Well, they're a big band. I mean, like they're a big band, so
Yeah.
I mean, they play big venues.
So what I've realized now is looking at people who are going on Tuesday, they have got ground pass tickets, which doesn't guarantee you access into the Tuesday showdown, which is Alexander Zverev versus Lorenzo Mazzetti playing an exhibition. And it doesn't give them access to Hot Chip.
So you're basically paying.
Hot Chip has a ground pass included, but I don't think the $20 ground pass gives you access to Hot Chip.
No chipping. Man, that's
the
brutal.
the 1 Point Slam is also a paid event this year. Are you aware of the 1 Point Slam?
No, what's that?
Oh, well, have I got a exciting story for you? It's literally a whole bunch of tennis players, like professional players, and then I think local players win through like different zones, and it's a tournament that has, I think, like Alcaraz is in it, Kyrgios is in it. Each match is 1 point. So it's done. Whoever wins that versus.
Oh,
so you could just have a random guy from a tennis club here who's won their way through could knock off Nick Kyrgios at 1 point. 1 point slam.
That's pretty sweet. I like
Yeah.
that.
So anyway, $39 if you want to go to that. You might get to watch 1 point of Carlos Alcaraz and 1 point of Nick Kyrgios.
$1 per point for the
To be fair,
entire
from
match.
$39. But no, I think this is the thing. Like, I'm just scrolling through all the tickets that are available. Like, we switched to the Sunday start for the Australian Open to get that extra day to clear the backlog of matches, which doesn't make any sense considering round 2 starts the same time it always has started. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 16. There's about 10 different things you can buy tickets to in the week before the main draw starts. So just the way of the world, I think, in 2026. I think they're trying to claw back some money post-COVID when they ran the tournament with a lot of people.
Yeah, that's probably the case. But it does show how the sport is growing, I think. Obviously a cultural stalwart where you're from, but still choose to be squeezed, apparently.
Somewhere. But look, it's the main thing is, yes, these things are going to be here this year, but they're going to make sure that the wet bulb globe temperature isn't lost amongst all of this hype.
Yeah, what
we will keep it at the front.
They need children with wet bulb globe temperature, like put it around their neck. That's a free item when you walk in. You can know what it is, and if you're gonna have to find somewhere to go. Also, that would actually be good because of all the fans that pass out. I mean, that's the big thing. Like, forget the players. I'm tired of fans passing out and stopping play. So maybe this will be good for that.
Yeah. And look, it's exciting to think that we're only, 2 weeks away from our first bulb watch.
Well, to your point, there are some lines up, not to get betting into the conversation, but I am a little surprised. We have the United Cup. I mean, right now, Jaume Munar is like a 4.5 game favorite over Baez. Somehow, Tsitsipas is a big favorite over Mochizuki. That's incredible.
What you're saying is we're nearly there. We're nearly back.
We're nearly there. I mean, it's we're a week out from Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you made it here, please do subscribe. Hit that bell button. I should have said that earlier, I'm sure. I got to get better at this YouTube thing. Internet Dave needs to realize the ways of the internet.
You nailed the early hook, but then we didn't. This is the thing. We're trying to get the hooks better, but then we've got to do the still subscribe.
Yeah.
Hit that notifications bell. all the fun things.
So
We
fun.
will do. Maybe we need to do a YouTube subscriber giveaway in January. Maybe
It's so fun. I love saying like and subscribe my channel at my age. It's my favorite thing.
Hey, if you're gonna talk about wet bulb globe temperature, you're gonna have to offset it with a bit of like and subscribe. You can't have it all your own way.
Okay, first of all, if you're a wet bulb globe temperature fan and you're not subscribed to this channel, you're missing out because we will be talking about it for all of 2026 and beyond. Because it's a great name. Wet bulb. Love it.
And I'm here. I'm in Australia. I'm gonna get the wet bulb out.
You
It's
need to
gonna
get
be-
an actual bulb and check the precipitation on it, I feel.
Yeah.
Give us an early indication.
What could go wrong? We've got ideas. I'm gonna head off to the shops now. We will get this sorted.
Well, you do need to start your day because I want to thank you for one being on the show with me and doing it very earlier time. And thank you all for watching as well, Steve. Steve, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays. I don't know any other Australian holidays you might have on the horizon, but happy those ones. And happy holidays to you out there.